going to be a train wreck. It's been a while since I've added a new enemy, and I'm getting kind of tired of looking at bats and blobs. This time let's go for something a little smarter. An eyeball-eating turret, obviously. These will have to track the player, shoot at him when he gets close. Not a ton to work through. Looking at the prefab, we've got the stationary base as the parent object, just for positioning and rotation. Under that, we've got an object without a renderer that handles a lot of the brain work. I've actually got two scripts on here, one for all the turret-specific stuff, and one that just makes it look at the player, just to recycle that later on. And at the bottom of the stack, we have the actual animated component. In our animation for the turret, we do have two events to call functions from the script. The first one just calls a sound effect for when it starts its animation. The second one calls the function that actually shoots the projectile at this keyframe. Alright, let's back up and look at the code. As far as the player tracker goes, it's pretty simple. You have a private transform for the player. In start, we find the transform tagged player. And in update, we just have this bend. To be honest, this line of code I found googling, and I have no idea how you get a rotation out of some position math, but it works. Don't be lazy like me, learn this stuff. On the second script, we have the actual controller. We've got variables for the damage, health, the game objects for the particle system used in enemy death and damage, the level manager script, and the animation, or the animator for the attack, and the transform for the player. In start, we just find the level manager and the player transform. In update, all I'm doing is checking to see how close the player is. If it's under 8 units from the turret, set the turret shoot animation trigger, and call it done. At the bottom I have an on trigger enter 2D. This probably should be an if-else, but it was modified from one of my other enemies, and lazy. So, if you hit something named player, have the level manager handle that however you want. The next line is straight up Brachy's audio controller. Check their channel for that one. If you hit the player's attack box, make an instance of the damage burst particle system or whatever you want to happen here. Subtract some health and more Brachy's audio management. If the health is below 0, then just die. On to script number 3, the actual shooter on the animation sprite. This just has some voids called by the animation itself. The yeet is called when the animation hits the frame where a projectile should come out and instantiates that. And more Brachy's audio. And the C is called when the player first gets into range and sets off the audio trigger with some more Brachy's. And finally the projectile. This thing's basically another enemy all on its own. Once it's spawned at the turret's location and rotation, its script kicks in. We have the variables for damage and health, a game object for the damage burst particle system, and the level manager script. In start, we grab the level manager script, and update, all we have to do is move the projectile. Since it's got its position and rotation from the turret when it was instantiated, we just have to go up each frame. And again with the on trigger enter stuff. Not lazy here, but this actually got big enough for one of those switch statements to start making sense, so go figure. If it hits a player, tell the level manager to handle that. Instance of the damage splatter, more Brachy's audio, and go away. If it hits a player's attack box, more damage burst, more Brachy's audio, take some health from the projectile. If you kill it, then it gets killed. If it hits the ground, yada yada yada, you get the point. These are all almost the same thing. It's what you wanted to do. If it hits the player, hits the player's attack box, or just face plant somewhere. Now, time for some more of that B-roll of our new toy in action. What? You're still here?